Hi guys, today we're going to talk about an arm balance that a lot of us tend to struggle with. The one that we're going to do today is called Ekapada koundinyasana. Now with most arm balances in ashtanga or vinyasa, they do require your hips to be quite open. So we're going to start with some hip opening exercises which are quite basic, the ones that we do in class all the time anyway. So starting from your downward facing dog, I'm going to start by lifting your right leg up. Take it up as high as you can. You go ahead and point the toes, extend, and then bend the knees here, bringing your foot towards the opposite shoulder. Just hold it here for a few breaths. And then gently extend it down, left side, lifting your left leg up, and then bend the knee. All the while staying in your ujjayi breathing. Good. Lower it down. Now, we're going to work on the hip flexors. So you're going to step your right leg forward. Let's start on the right leg. Before we come into Hanumanasana, I want you guys to go backwards. So, you're going to keep your hips nice and squared, okay? Which means you're going to pull the front leg into the hip socket and then drop this hip bone down towards the ground slightly so you're squaring the hips. If the back heel comes off the floor, which is very likely, that's fine. You're going to stretch the Achilles tendon, just the calf muscle as well, so really start to step it back. If you don't have the flexibility in your ankle, that's fine. Just lift the heel up, but maybe work towards dropping it down just a little. And if you want more, reach your chin towards your shin bone. So remember, it's never forehead to knee, unless, well, it's not necessarily never, but most of the times when you come into a forward bend in ashtanga or vinyasa, you want to keep your back nice and straight, so folding at your hips as opposed to folding at the waist. Okay, now we're going to come into a deep hip opener. Okay, so in Hanumanasana, same thing, you keep your hips nice and squared. You're just going to start to extend that front leg forward. Now notice how my back heels facing up towards the ceiling. So you're flexing your toes. Even if you come all the way flat, you need to face the back heel up towards the ceiling. So you hold it here for a few breaths, breathing deep. Repeat on the other side. Okay, stepping the left leg forward. Remember to go backwards first. So squaring the hips, try to drop the back heel onto the ground and reaching your chin towards the shin bone. And when you feel like you want to move a little bit further, take that front leg out to the front and then stay flexed on the back toes. Lower as deep as you can. It also helps if you've got a pair of blocks. If you don't want to come down this low, press your hands into the blocks and then just lift your hips up like this. And if you want to take it a little bit deeper, you can also fold forward. Pressing your hands into the ground, stepping back. Now to come into Ekapada koundinyasana, I'm going to start on one leg. I'm going to start on my left leg. I know it looks like the opposite on the camera, but so I've got my left leg forward, just so you guys can see better in this angle. You're going to get that shoulder underneath the leg. The deeper you get the shoulder underneath the leg, the easier it's going to be to lift up. So, pressing both hands into the ground now, you're going to lift this foot up off the ground. This is where a lot of us are stuck. That's fine. Even if you aren't able to lift the whole foot off the ground, just try to lift the heel up and just keep tapping the toe onto the ground until you feel confident enough that you can lift that front leg forward. Now, if you don't have the flexibility to lift your leg completely up like this, you can always bend the knee back. So for most guys, if your hips are a little tight, go backwards. You can always extend the leg back. Now I'm going to come forward because it's easier for me to do it this way. So you bring it forward. Once you can comfortably lift that leg up, there's just one thing left to do. You're going to bend the elbow. So this is my right arm. I'm going to bend my elbow and lean my upper body into the elbow so that I can lift my back leg off the ground. And then once you're there, just step or jump back. Take your vinyasa. Once you start to feel comfortable enough in all of these postures, you can always mix them around and turn them into transitions. So for example, you can jump into astavakrasana, get your right leg over the shoulder, which is what I'm going to show you guys now. So from your downward facing dog, you're going to jump your right leg around the shoulder. Okay? From there, this is another posture that we do in class a lot. So in astavakrasana, get your leg over the shoulder as deep as you can. Again, if you need to use blocks, pressing your hands into the blocks to help lift up. You hook the left foot over, and from there, you lift the hips, you shift the weight in the opposite direction. So you're extending your legs over. Now from here, all you do to come into Ekapada koundinyasana is to lift up, tuck that foot in, lean into the opposite arm again, and extend the leg back. Jump back. So remember guys, these postures are really fun to work on, so you've got to have a little bit of dedication. Don't push yourself too hard. Be okay with your practice wherever it is. And if you can, maybe spend a few minutes opening up your hips or doing a few core strengthening exercises. And before long, you guys will be doing all the arm bounces that you want. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you guys next week.